If being shy has prevented you from getting what you want in life, we need to have a conversation because you're not shy. Yep, I just said it, you're not shy. I'm going to explain so that you can understand, because believe it or not, I am shy is actually an excuse a lot of people will use unconsciously, of course, because that's what they believe they are. When the truth about this, first of all, let me ask you a question. Typically shy people, right? They might have fear of public speaking. They might be afraid of confrontations. They might be afraid to say something to certain people because they don't want to make any waves, or they don't want to step on people's toes, or they don't want to inconvenience anybody, or they want to keep the peace, or something like that, right? And then very often those same people, incredible opportunities go to other people, because the people that are actually assertive and that come across as self-confident, those are the ones that get the prize. They steal the show, right? And very often the shy people, who very often are actually sometimes twice as intelligent or twice as hardworking or 3 times as capable or whatever, they often don't even get the opportunity because they are shy. So if this has happened to you, where you know that in hindsight, or maybe it prevented you from going on the date, or maybe you were afraid to go to the business networking event, maybe you were afraid to put yourself out there, maybe you're afraid to go live on social media, even though you know it would be so good for your business, maybe you didn't raise your hand in the boardroom, even though you know you had the answer. So shy is a very expensive problem to have, if you ask me. And why am I saying this? To aggravate you? No, this is just the truth, because so many people complain to me on the back end, behind closed doors, how much this problem has cost them. So this is, I hear you. I hear this all the time. And I don't want this to happen for you. And this was me for so long. So long. I played small. I stayed stuck. I sat on the sidelines watching everybody else succeed while I kept scrolling. Or back then we didn't scroll, and I remember how painful that was, because I knew I had the capability. I knew I had the ability. I knew I was a hard worker. I was good at such and such, and I knew I could have done an incredible job. And I wanted to be part of the team, and I wanted to be part of the conversation. I wanted to be part of the company, except I didn't raise my hand. I didn't use, because I'm shy. And I don't want to inconvenience people. And I had plenty of justifications of why I should remain this way. That's just how I am. This is just my personality. No, I promise and guarantee you, this is not just your personality, because my guess is just my wild guess. When you are in the presence of people that you love and that love and adore you, are you still shy, or do you light up like a Christmas tree? That's what I thought. So therefore, because the truth is, if you really were shy, then you would be shy all the time and everywhere. It's like, I can't change my height. My height is my height, whether I'm in Asia or in Africa, in Europe or in America. That's right. But so therefore, that's not going to fly anymore. Just FYI. That's it. That's just an excuse. And listen, I also am not here to blame you, because chances are nobody told you where this shyness actually comes from. What is the cause of this shyness? But even more importantly, can we fix it? Can we change it? Absolutely. Yes, that's the best news I can give you. This is something you can fix easily when you are given a system and a process that actually works with this. And I'm not going to send you to Toastmasters. No, you do not need to take speech lessons. You don't need to watch on YouTube. None of those things. Again, those things, I'm also not going to have you regurgitate the same speech. No. Sounds good. It could be reasonable advice. And please go knock yourself out if that's what you want to do. But that is not what's going to help you come literally out of the shell and become this charismatic person that you actually are at the core. I promise you, you are that charismatic, magnetic, influential person at the core. I promise and guarantee you. I've never not seen this happen. Never not seen this happen. You, at the core, are a charismatic, magnetic, influential person. And when you finally have the capacity, the capability, and when you are given access to the real you, to the whole you, that's when that version of you will come out. It will. So, I want to explain a little science to you to help you understand that you're not shy, and how I came to that conclusion that you're not shy, and how you need to understand this so that you can change it. Because again, we often think shy is a character flaw or whatever, it's a personality trait. Again, no, it is not that. So here's what actually happened. You actually became shy because, so as a hypnotherapist, right, one of the first questions I will always ask myself, I'll ask the client, what's not working in your life the way you want it? And let's just say the client complained to me that they're afraid of confrontation or something like that, or that they're shy, or that they wish they had more self-confidence or better self-esteem. What I ask myself very shortly after that is, what might cause that person to have this limitation? And when we get to work, guess what? We always find the cause. And the cause happened, you ready for this? Before the age of 7, for most people. Because here's the deal, very simply explained. The subconscious is running a program. It's actually running billions of programs, meaning, and for a large part, that's a good thing, because that is what gives us the ability as humans to automate our lives. So much of what we do is on autopilot. You know how to tie your shoelaces like in your sleep. You know how to chew. You know how to differentiate letters. Never mind. You know how to read. You know how to walk. Like, so many of our day-to-day activities are highly, highly complex, incredibly complicated, and you do them automatically. Why? Because it's a program in your subconscious, okay? Which is amazing. Just as a human being, the potential is, I have no words. Except that there are these certain programs of, I'm shy, right? That also, for a large part, happens on autopilot. And by the way, certain people are only shy around authority figures, right? The cop pulls them over, the lawyer wants to have a conversation with them, they get called to the principal's office, right? And so all of a sudden they get all uptight and anxious, yes? So that's a program. That is a program running the show. Now, the cause of these limiting programs that we have that cause us to feel, less than confident, let's just say, right, is an experience that most likely happened before, several experiences before the age of 7, where, in the example of I'm shy, okay, let's just say it could have been anything, but something like maybe you raised your hand in a classroom. Maybe you said something at the dinner table. Maybe you tried to make your aunt and uncle proud and you said something, and whatever came after that, let's just say, didn't go so well. That's when you got in trouble. That's when you got yelled at. That's when you got, reprimanded. That's when maybe you were humiliated. People were laughing at you. And guess what? To your nervous system, to your subconscious, to your body, that was translated as a threat. This was a bad thing. And therefore, your subconscious files away that experience. You see, you speaking, bad. And so therefore, that now becomes a program and so now here's the other thing. Anytime you might be around something that's similar to what you experienced when you were 5 years old, your nervous system, your subconscious, which by the way, its job is to protect you and to serve you, to help you survive, it always scans for threats. And when it sees the policeman, it scans that as a threat. Hey, here's another scene like that. Reminds me just like when I was 5, when I was yelled at, reprimanded, boom, be shy. Because it perceives that as a threat. All because of that experience at 5 years old, it literally got so deep into your into your psyche, into your humanness, and it started a program. And once that was installed, which by the way, remember, without your consent, without your permission, it happened unconsciously. And this is why with hypnotherapy, is so powerful, because we get to go to the root cause to help you understand what happened to you, right? Once you have that perspective, now we actually really get to work with the tools of transformation work, whether it's hypnosis, NLP. I mean, I have so many tools available to me that give us the opportunity to then reprogram the person so that they no longer need to be shy when they meet XYZ authority figure, or when they have to raise their hand in the boardroom, when they need to get into that confrontation, when they need to get into that negotiation, when they need to get on that cold call. All of a sudden, those things become effortless. It's like we flip a switch, technically speaking, because that's exactly what we do. Remember, up until now, that program has been running the show, running your life, and very often ruining your life. And this is where I explain to my clients, you have a choice. You want to continue this running your life, or you want to change it. Because you trying to convince me that you're shy, I am not buying it, because I know a little something about humans. And all of us have these programs that are running underneath the surface. 95%, I would even say more than that, 97, 98% of our life is on autopilot. And remember, the gratitude, so much of that is amazing. Think about all the things you know how to do just automatically. You just do it, that's genius. And then we have a couple of these programs that are, again, raining on our parade. Those are the things we can change, right? And so simply by, I like to call it reprogramming that subconscious program that is as of now running on autopilot. And then within a short time, and yes, the mind needs repetition. Initially, it starts with the reprogramming, and then we add repetition so that the program can get deeply ingrained into you. And then all of a sudden, now you're facing the crowd where before used to be anxiety, now you have excitement. In the boardroom, you were afraid to raise your hand. Now you're like, yeah, it becomes like, it just becomes automatically like you transform into the person that you really are, because now you understand, no, raising my hand in the boardroom is actually not dangerous, it's not a threat. It's a right, it's an opportunity, it's a duty. Getting on those cold calls, what used to be fear of rejection, or no, now it's like, this is my life, this is my business. Like, no, I get to do this. You literally change your personality, like in the best way possible, because that's who you really are. And this whole shy, thing is preventing so many people from living their best life. And it shows up in business, it shows up in relationships, it shows up in dating, it shows up, even in health and fitness, because this is what causes so many people to just like sit on the sidelines like I used to, not, I don't know, thinking other people are so much better or whatever right? And so that's what feeling shy does to a human being. And so needless to say, it will just, anyhow, it shows up in so many ways. So this is something we can change, and naturally and virtually and effectively and relatively quickly. I don't want to brag, but it is what it is, all right? And keep in mind, it's interesting to me, when I first heard these words, when I started doing this work, I actually was quite intimidated, but now I'm used to it because I hear it all the time. And the words are, Susan, you're my last resort. I've already done and tried everything: therapy, meditation, journaling, coping skills, breathing techniques. I've been to the seminars, I've been to the self-help groups, I have done the retreats, I have done the ayahuasca, I've done the mushrooms, and again, many breakthroughs possibly, right? But I still have this problem. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, and by the way, my doctor sent me to you. My psychologist sent me. Okay. Initially, it was just like, whoa, let's just make sure this works. And then it does work. So again, I'm used to it by now. And after we work together, then I will hear, I should have done this a long time ago. Why didn't somebody tell me about this? Well, I'm here telling you, okay? So that I can no longer be yelled at. I get it. I also wish I had known about this so much sooner. I wish I had known about this before I even had children, because I would have raised them complete, like, oh, what I know today about programming and mind and human ability and intelligence and the system of how we're designed, this should be taught in school, in kindergarten, okay? This should literally, anyhow. So yeah, that's why I do what I do, and this is why I wanted to share this with you. So look, whether it's procrastination, self-sabotage, a bad habit that you can't stop, a compulsion, obsession, a post-traumatic stress disorder, I've probably worked with everything by now. And yes, I've also worked with compulsive stuttering. Happens to be, right, my favorite child, because that was my massive, massive impediment for the first 20 years of my life. So I know what it feels like when you really want it and you're doing everything to achieve it and you try so hard, except it doesn't work. I know what that feels like. It sucks. And I don't want that for you. This doesn't have to be a life sentence. Whatever the problem is, we can solve it. And my favorite part, my process, Susan Urban Hypnotherapy, implies you have the answers within. Whatever the problem is, you have the answers within. So it's not going to be Susan said, my coach wants me. No, because very often that, it sounds like good advice, but often people don't take action. When it comes from you and you are jolted by this advice, by these answers, you're going to move. It's the most incredible momentum that you could ever experience. So hope this helped somebody today. Obviously, if you want more, you know where to find me. I'll see you next time.